Donuts.
What's going on, everybody? It's your Observant Lineman, Uche Nwaneri, and today we're going to talk about a new first encounter. This one takes place in 2008, my second season, the 2008-2009 season, second season in the NFL, and really this is a first encounter for me, mainly because in every football team that I played on, high school, college, never really experienced a situation like this where things continuously escalated throughout the course of the season. Now, to give you a little context, 2008, we had big aspirations on the team. Team morale was very high. And, so guys kind of started, just kind of having fun more so in the locker room leading into the season. And it was awkward because players started to form alliances in the locker room against other players. And this would cause kind of a prank war to be set off, in our locker room. Through the course of the season, this just got more and more ridiculous, more and more over the top. And it would hit its crescendo going into our game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, just to give you a couple of examples of some of the kind of pranks that were going on early in the season, it was, defensive backs against receivers, running backs against linebackers. So you would see, like, for instance, Maurice Jones-Drew, his entire locker, the linebackers got all of the clothing drums that we had for our laundry after practice, and they stuffed his locker with them, and then they used athletic tape and covered his locker completely from top to bottom. So he couldn't get into his locker because the linebackers had taped it from top to bottom closed with a dirty laundry chute roller barrel in the locker. So another prank that was also a part of this early escalation was the running backs putting Tiger Balm in the linebackers' mouthpieces. So, as guys know, Tiger Balm is one of those icy hot type of muscle ointments that you use to get ready to warm up, to stretch, use it for pain relief. This was lined in all of their mouthpieces. So guys didn't realize that they had Tiger Balm until they were actually out at practice. And as they put on their helmet, put in their mouthpiece, they taste the Tiger Balm. So that became a big issue that just created more escalation. So then you had the DBs versus wide receivers. Guys are filling up shoes with powder. Guys are taking shoes and soaking them in sinks and then leaving them in the locker so that by the time we go to practice, when you put on your shoes, they're soggy, and it's hot in Jacksonville. So obviously that's something that's going to bother receivers who have to run up and down the field all day long. And things really just got crazy. It was like you walked into the locker room in the morning and you were just looking around to see what was out of place, because you would see a linebacker scurry by. I'd walk into the locker room and there goes Cliff Ingram. He goes running by and he's got that look on his face with a big dip in his mouth, the smirk like he's up to something. You see that when you walk in the locker room. And so you start kind of looking around corners, peeking around, seeing what's going on. And these guys are plotting on their next prank. And it's crazy because it's like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, how do you have all this energy? I'm still trying to wake myself up as I walk in the door. And, with the O-line and the D-line, you didn't really have much participation from us. We weren't really involved in that. That's too much energy for us big guys to be using to waste energy that we would have for practice on, some elaborate prank. These guys were doing too much in our opinion, but it was entertainment. So we sat, we watched, we observed, we enjoyed it. But things really kind of came to a head when we were going into Cincinnati. I forget what week it was, but it was in the second half of the season. And we're, I think at this point we're like 5-6. It's been a rough year. We've had a lot of injuries. And coaches are getting a little bit tight. They're getting a little bit edgy just because of the circumstances and the expectations that were set for the year. But on this particular week, things got out of control. So one of the things that really was beginning to become a target for the pranks was our Saturday morning meeting sessions. So what happens in these meetings on Saturday morning, you come in a little bit later than usual. We're only there for like, an hour or two. But what happens is all of the young players, usually each week, they trade by position. They bring in or they order a bunch of Krispy Kreme donuts, a bunch of bagels. They bring, gallons of milk, gallons of orange juice. Just a nice pastry setup for breakfast meetings, for early meetings, to have some breakfast and take into your meeting with you. And, it was crazy because the week before this was actually the first attempt at pranking through the Saturday night or the Saturday morning meeting. So one that I witnessed personally, Daryl Smith, who played with us for a number of years and went on to play in Baltimore, was a great player in Baltimore for a number of years as well. Daryl Smith comes walking by. Nobody's really in the locker room at this time. He's walking by, he's looking around. The running backs are in their meetings, and everybody comes in. They see all that stuff on the table in the middle of the locker room, all these assortments of goodies laid out, and guys will grab one and then go into their meeting or go into the training room. And Daryl Smith grabbed 3 or 4 of the bagels on the platter on the table, and he starts licking them. He starts licking them. And I'm standing, I just walked in the locker room and I'm like, oh shit, this is about to get serious. I'm not touching anything on that table. I will take some orange juice, but I'm not touching anything on that table. Then before you know it, here comes Clint Ingram, and he grabs the gallon of milk and he pops it open and he starts drinking from it, mouth on the top of the bottle, just drinking out of it like it's his own gallon of milk at his house. And at that point, I knew that I was going to step in and keep myself as far away from this situation as possible. So you fast forward back to the week where we're going to go play Cincinnati. And this is Saturday before we leave for the game. Come in the locker room, and it's crazy because it's like, why am I walking in the locker room and seeing this? Come in the locker room. There's like multiple boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts. Nobody's really touched them yet. They must have just got there. Maybe, guys didn't have time to grab something. So I walk in. Who do I see? Here comes Clint Ingram. Here comes Daryl Smith. They come jogging over in from the bathroom, come jogging over. They start grabbing donuts. Clint starts licking donuts. Him and Daryl grab the other box of donuts and they walk into the bathroom with it. So I'm like, that's not good. I'm not eating a damn thing, period. I'm going to my meeting. So I walk into my meeting. We come out. We go through the rest of that day. There are whispers as we go out for our walkthrough. There are whispers that somebody put their pubes on the donuts. There are whispers that somebody may have used one of the donuts down in a spot that I guess there was a hole there, but that was the rumor. And we couldn't really get clarity on it. I mean, I asked Daryl myself, Buck, we call him Buck. I said, Buck, you stick your junk in the donut? And all he did was pack in a nice fat dip, look at me and just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I let it be at that point because, whatever. Now we go down to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is winless. I think they were, I don't know what their record was, but they didn't have a win yet. And we lost that game. So the very next day in the team meeting, because what I didn't tell you thus far in this story was that on the Friday before our Saturday workout, the majority of the players on the team went out to this thing called First Friday. It's the first Friday of the month. We went to this party. I mean, I was there. Quarterback was there. Everybody, Fred Taylor, Mojo, everybody, offense, defense, you saw most of the team at this party, and we were getting wasted. I know I was wasted. I pulled into a dang Waffle House and slept in the parking lot for about an hour before I went home. Justin Durant, who was our second round pick, he got picked up by the police because he was passed out at a yield sign in the middle of the night. They had to pull him out of the car. So Justin Durant is in jail, DUI overnight, and he obviously isn't able to play in the game because the owner's pissed, head coach is pissed. You can't let this slide. He's not going to play. And we, go to Cincinnati and we lose. So not only were a ton of us, many of us starters, at a party on Friday night, but not only did one of our players get arrested that night because he was unconscious in his car at a yield sign, we go up to Cincinnati to a winless Cincinnati Bengals and we lose by 1 or 2 points in Cincinnati. Big John Henderson gets kicked out of that game because he gets in a fight with the center. It was just a whole shit show, total and complete shit show. So we come back, and on Sunday in the team meeting, there is an eerie silence amongst everybody in the team meeting room. There's no chatter going on. It's really like very low whispers. And then here comes Jack Del Rio, comes walking down to the front of the meeting room. He doesn't have any schedule thing in his hand like he usually does. His face is red. The team owner just walks in behind him and stands at the back. And we're sitting there like, oh shit, this is about to get ugly. He hits the lights and turns on the screen that's built into the wall. This really nice plexiglass screen that's built into the wall, has a projector in the wall that shoots out a high definition image, cutting edge at the time. And it's a PowerPoint. And it's a PowerPoint with the background of the main title page being the club that we all went to on Friday night. And it said in big letters on the title part, "Do we really want to win?" ? Jacksonville Jaguars are out en masse at First Friday party event. Many players seen and photographed. Second-year player Justin Durant arrested for DUI after being found in vehicle unconscious. And you can just see Jack's face getting redder and redder. He's pissed. And then he comes to the crescendo, to the very top of this. And then the next picture, the very last slide, is a slide of donuts. Donuts. And it says, "Men acting like boys." And Jack starts talking about how, "I don't understand, men, how you can come in here as a professional. You guys are running around doing pranks. Yeah, that's all good. We know that's how it is sometimes in the locker room. But when somebody sticks their dick in the donuts, well, them's just fighting words. I don't know about you, man, but I'm going to fight somebody. They stick dicks in donuts that I eat." And you could just see the rage in his face. He was so pissed because maybe, just maybe, Jack grabbed the donut off of the donut table when he came in to the building that morning. So there's a chance he may have been eating a donut that had somebody's dick in it. And that was the end of donuts and anything on the table before our walkthroughs on Saturdays. We didn't have it for the rest of the season. And, as soon as he talked about the dicks and the donuts, everybody just turned in just slightly and looked at Daryl Smith and Clint Ingram. And they didn't move at all. They sat there and didn't even act like there were eyes on them. I know they could feel it. When we got back to the locker room, they were just like, "Now I don't know who did that. I ain't do all that. I might have licked one, but I ain't do all that." They found pubes on one, and the crazy thing is, it's reported by you know, just our they go straight to our equipment managers because they're in there with us and they know what's going on. They're not going to say anything, but when the coaches come in and ask, oh, they're going to tell them. So from that point on, we didn't have any donuts for the rest of the season. And I think at that point, that's when kind of the prank escalation dropped significantly, just because, look, we weren't having the kind of season we wanted to have. And, you know, when you get called out like that from your coach, going out and partying before a game, losing to a team you shouldn't lose to, sticking your balls in the donuts, licking the donuts, doing all kinds of crazy mess, everything kind of comes to a head. And that means that, you know, guys need to refocus and you know, get back into a mindset of going to work and trying to improve the team. So that was that. But that was something that seemed appropriate to dub Donut Gate, just simply because, you know, that was what sent everything over the edge. I felt like Jack was more pissed about the donuts than he actually was about the partying and losing the game. I mean, he called guys out, but the donut part, that was personal. And that is the story of Donut Gate in the Jacksonville Jaguars locker room in 2008. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Hit that like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the Observant Lineman, Uche Nwaneri, and I will catch you all on the next video. Peace.